Chess, nonsense, and analysis. Hi, dear viewer. Yeah. Uh, Today I would like us to talk about the player who has become the 86th Grandmaster from India. An amazing number. And a young man, 20 years old. His name is L.R Srihari. And yeah, he became Grandmaster number um, 68, 86, 86 as it's a big number. And actually, what is interesting is that the first time I went to India was in um, in early days, like 96, 1996. That was the first time I went to India. And then India only had three grandmasters. It's very interesting. They had Vishwanathan Anand, of course. Then they had Dipendu Barua, and they had Thipse. Only three GMs. And I always relate this story because it's one that to me, it's unbelievable, and I always am teleported, so to speak, back to that time. And the it was the Commonwealth Championship in in 96, and yeah, in this environment with them having three grandmasters, um in the opening ceremony, I remember them actually saying that their idea, their goal was to produce 100 grandmasters. And I must admit, then in 96, I thought it sounded crazy. I didn't believe that it was possible. I was like, what are they talking about? And right now, that's why I think they are so strong now, India, that it's only a question of when they will produce 100 grandmasters and more. Mm. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight the latest grandmaster, a young man. Actually, the two games that I want to show from him happened in 2000. Um, so I mean in 2020, right? And so he was born in 2005. So he was 15 when he played these games. And yeah, he has a certain very interesting style, I find. That's why I was attracted to these games because he plays very solid, at least in these two games, you will see he plays very solid openings, but solves the problems with tactics, which is for me not so usual to see. And yeah, let's have a look. So the first game we'll look is a game that he played. He played this in New Delhi, and he played this against Udin. Okay, so his rating then was 2302 as a 15-year-old little boy, and he played against Udin. Udin was 2508. And let's have a look. So, okay, this line, he grabs on d5, and after c6, he plays bishop f4. Very logical move because the way the pawns are placed, the black squares are a bit weak. And, well, black has got a choice to let white dominate the black squares, possibly combining with rook c1, possibly a3, b4, knight a4, later on, that is, and dominating, or will white play bishop d6? But then bishop d6 means that, sorry, black is trading their very good bishop, which would have been a good defender of the black squares. So, okay, we're having a very uh, interesting position. Queen b3 is a very nice move, stops the bishop from developing, plays e3, bishop d3. And now, black tries to solve his problems. Because the problem is how black is going to get out. It's not so easy. White has got very simple play here. Castle, play rook c1, possibly move the knight to a4, maybe to c5. No, because then I can press on the queen side. So he plays c5. Very interesting decision. first and foremost threatening c4. Queen a3, so first tactic is used, a pin, b6, and then without wasting any time, he plays e4. It's threatening e5, so captures, and we have this position and castles. So of course, black has to castle to get the king out and plays rook e1. Another very fine move, stopping moves like, for example, rook e8, because then he would take on um, on h7, protecting the bishop, very important, because black would love to get out. But now, of course, if black plays knight f6, then white can take on c5 and create a weakness here on the pawn on c5. So rook e1 is a very nice move, and it's starting to be difficult for black to develop. If bishop b7, the a6 pawn will fall. Bishop takes b7, queen takes a6. So b5. But he's got it covered. Now look at this tactical manner of solving this situation. He plays rook c1, and he attacks c5. So he's threatening to capture on c5. So b4 is forced, and now shifts. Queen d3. He's got two threats, h7, but also d takes c5. Because after d takes c5, unfortunately, the queen is hanging. So you'd have to exchange the queen, but then if you exchange the queen, you cannot take on c5 back with the knight. So black is kind of forced to play here, plays bishop f5. Now black must be careful not to get checkmated. So knight c5, queen takes d4, and the knight is hanging. And look at this, again, a tactical manner of playing the position. He plays bishop c2, and after knight takes, he plays rook e4. So big attack coming with rook h4 check. Yeah. We can imagine rook h4 check coming, king g8, bishop h7 check, knight c6. Ideas of knight e7 and mates, and tough position for black. So black plays g5, and now rook b1 is played. And once again, if knight goes to c4, then there's knight c6. No, because knight d2, maybe I can take on b8 because the bishop is protecting both rooks. It's a very interesting way of playing. f5, rook e7. It's nice fusion of tactics and strategy. So now the black king is weak. This is the problem. Knight e6, rook takes e6, check, check, and comes back. The knight is hanging, and the king is still very weak. So plays like this, f4. And yeah, the problem now is that the pawn endgame, unfortunately, is not in black's favor. The a6 was hanging, and then now just plays, because the queening square is a white square, no? But the bishop is keeping an eye out for it, and then yeah, Udin had enough, resigned. Very interesting style, I find, especially considering that he was playing like this as a 15-year-old. It's quite impressive, actually. And then have a look at this game. He played this in Chennai, so not the same tournament, but the same time, sort of. Also, he played this in 2020, and this time he played against a player whose rating is 2498. Let's have a look at this game. So, okay, the system, he plays d4, castles, plays c4, and this is still theory, but he for a young player, he just is not afraid of going against a high-rated player into this very quiet position. Very much Catalan-like. And now the problem that black is having is how to develop the pieces, especially the bishop. The bishop is not able to come in. As you can see, he's stopping the bishop from coming out. So queen c8, queen b3, it's putting pressure. Knight c6, rook d1, just centralizing the pieces. Looks effortless, but very difficult for black to get out of this position. He chooses this, and he decides that he's going to take the pawn, but bishop a3, e7 is hanging, and queen takes b7, e3. Yeah, I found this position to be interesting, because I think that it should be equal, actually. I mean, maybe white could have tried differently to keep the advantage, but black, it seems like black has successfully moved out. but the position is still not easy uh, to play practically because f7 is weak. The queen is menacing, and yeah, there are some threats. Maybe h4, and then but the queen and the bishop are very awkward, and this diagonal is very important, and you cannot really come back. Knight on d4 is a monster, which actually goes back to the theory that if you play against, or rather the one of the ways to play against two bishops is to have is to secure an outpost for the knight. And we can see here this knight on d4 is very well placed, and it is actually controlling some squares. It's actually playing against both bishops if you think about it, right? The white bishop is not able to be mobile, and the black bishop is just cut. So we can imagine and we can understand the frustration that Rios has with the knight, and he decides to chop it off. But possibly not the best solution. So anyway, we reach this, and now the pawn on f7 is attacked, and now once again, we have a position where the f7 pawn is going to be telling, because white just has a lot of play going. Okay, there was some threats here, so h4 was important, and defense f7, king h2, a4 places the pawn to be defended by the rook. Now queen c7, attacking a5, king g2, queen e5 check, and h5. So now we see that white's pieces are so beautifully centralized, and black is struggling to defend. Yeah, h6 is the threat now. It decides to take, but this will not end well, and it has time trouble vibes written all over it, but nonetheless, very impressive play. I mean, for a 15-year-old to be playing like this, he's playing like a very mature player already. So yeah, so this young man, yeah, be keeping an eye on him. I'm certainly a fan for now. I think he's got a very interesting style. Not many players play like this, and I like what I'm seeing. So yeah, Grandmaster number 86. And India is just rolling everyone over. Yeah, it's like a very well-oiled machine, and I really love what I'm seeing. I'm definitely rooting for them to get to 100, and I think the amount of youngsters that are there, they will get there. It's the question though is how fast will they get there, right? And already many players are taking the top 10 of the world, and so yeah, it's brilliant, and I'm happy to see this shift of guard. Definitely, I mean, India is taking over, and I'm a big fan. And I like the idea that they are, the style that these players are playing, the Indian chess players. They don't play this, the mentality is not to draw, and they want it. They're moving forward. They're playing very, even if they play positionally, but they're playing for the result, and yeah, you get the feel that, I mean, I just like it as a fan, a fan of Indian chess, watching from the distance. I like what I'm seeing. Absolutely. So yeah, Grandmaster number 86. Well done to Srihari. And we are looking to look out for more. And yeah, let's see how fast they will get to 100. I'm sure they will get to 100. The question though is that how fast? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, please comment, guys, and maybe some other players from in India who are up and coming for sure, who we will know about in a few years. So please, dear viewer, do alert us here. Write and give us some names. We'll go research and we'll look at them, the upcoming stars, because I'm sure there are many now coming up all over the place. Yeah, thank you. So share, and subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, till next time, all I will say for now is, well, check mate.